Hi children, welcome to today's social science class. Children, in our last video, we started history 5th chapter, Kingdom, Kings and Early Republic. And mainly we discuss about horse sacrifice and about the Varna system. In this video, I'm going to explain about Janapadas and about the Mahajanapadas and taxes of Mahajanapadas and about the closer look of Magadha and Vajji. So let us start our class. Janapadas. The Rajas who performed these big sacrifices were now recognized as being Rajas of Janapadas rather than Janas. The word Janapada literally means the land where the Janas set its foot and settled down. Some important Janapadas are shown on map 4. Mahajanapadas. About 2500 years ago, some Janapadas became more important than others and were known as Mahajanapadas. Some of these are shown on map 4. Most Janapadas had a capital city. Many of these were fortified. This means that huge walls of wood, brick, or stone were built around them. Forts were probably built because people were afraid of attacks from other kings and needed protection. It is also likely that some rulers wanted to show how rich and powerful they were by building really large, tall, and impressive walls around their cities. Also, in this way, the land and the people living inside the fortified area could be controlled more easily by the king. Building such huge walls required a great deal of planning. Thousands, if not lakhs of bricks or stones had to be prepared. This in turn meant enormous labor provided possibly by thousands of men, women, and children, and resources had to be found for all of this. The new Rajas now began maintaining armies. Soldiers were paid regular salaries and maintained by the king throughout the year. Some payments were probably made using punch marked coins. Taxes. As the rulers of the Mahajanapadas were built huge forts, maintaining big armies, they need more resources. And they needed officials to collect these. So instead of depending on occasional gifts brought by people, as in the case of the Raja of the Janapadas, they started collecting regular taxes. Now we can look at the various taxes imposed by the Mahajanapadas. First of all, taxes on crops were the most important. This was because most people were farmers. Usually, the tax was fixed at one sixth of what was produced. This was known as bagha or share. There were taxes on craft persons as well. This could have been in the form of labor. For example, a weaver or smith may have had to work for a day every month for the king. Taxes on herders. Herders were also expected to pay taxes in the form of animals and animal produce. There were also taxes on goods that were brought and sold through trade. And hunter gatherers also had to provide forest produce to the Raja. Changes in agriculture. There were two major changes in agriculture around this time. One was the growing use of iron plowshares. This meant that the heavy clay soil could be turned over better than with a wooden plowshare, so that more grain could be produced. Second, people began transplanting paddy. This meant that instead of scattering seed on the ground, from which plants would sprout, slapping were grown and then planted in the fields. This led to increased production as many more plants survived. However, it was backbreaking work. Generally, slaves, men and women, dasas and dasis, and landless agricultural laborers, kamakaras, had to do this work. A closer look, Magadha. Find Magadha on map 4. Magadha became the most important Mahajanapada in about 200 years. Many rivers such as the Ganga and Sun followed through Magadha. This was important for transport, water supplies, making the land fertile. Parts of Magadha were forest. Elephants, which lived in the forest, could be captured and trained for the army. Forests also provided wood for building houses, carts, and chariots. Besides, there were iron ore mines in the regions that could be tapped to make strong tools and weapons. Magadha had two very powerful rulers, Bimbisara and Ajatasattu, who used all possible means to conquer other Janapadas. Mahapadmananda was another important ruler. He extended his control up to the northwest part of the subcontinent. Rajagriha, present day Rajagir, in Bihar was the capital of Magadha for several years. Later, the capital was shifted to the Padaliputra. More than 2300 years ago, a ruler named Alexander, who lived in Macedonia in Europe, wanted to become a world conqueror. Of course, he did not conquer the world, but did conquer parts of Egypt and West Asia and come to the Indian subcontinent. Reaching up to the banks of the Bias, when he wanted to march further eastwards, his soldiers refused. They were scared as they had heard that the rulers of India had vast armies of foot soldiers, chariots, and elephants. A closer look, Vajji. While Magadha became a powerful kingdom, Vajji with its capital at Vaishali, Bihar, was under a different form of government known as Gana or Sangha. What is meant by Gana or Sangha? Gana means is used for a group that has many members. Sangha means organization or associations. In Gana or Sangha, there were not one, but many rulers. Sometimes, even when thousands of men ruled together, each one was known as a Raja. These Rajas performed rituals together. They also met in assemblies and decided what had to be done and how through decisions and debate. For example, if they were attacked by an enemy, they met to discuss what should be done to meet that threat. However, women, dasas, and kamkaras could not participate in these assemblies. Both the Buddha and Mahavira belong to Gana or Sanghas. Okay, children, I am going to wind up this video. Now you have to watch this video many times and read many times this chapter and underline important points. Then to given works. Thank you. Thank you for listening my class.